Hello everyone, welcome to NCERT audiobook. Today we are going to start with the class 11th lesson number 7, structural organization in animals. So let's start. In the preceding chapter, you came across a large variety of the organism, both unicellular and multicellular, of the animal kingdom. In unicellular organism, all functions like digestion, respiration and reproductions are performed by a single cell. In a complex body of multicellular animals, the same basic functions are carried out by different groups of cells in a well-organized manner. The body of a simple organism like Hydra is made up of the different types of the cells, and the number of the cells each cell type can be 1,000. The human body is composed of a billions of the cells to perform the various functions. How do these cells in the body work together? In multicellular animals, a group of similar cells along with intercellular substance perform a specific functions, such as organizations is called tissues. You may be surprised to know that all complex animals consist of only 4 basic types of tissues. These tissues are organized in a specific proportion and pattern to form an organ like stomach, lung, heart, and kidney. When two or more organs perform a common function by their physical and a chemical interaction, they together form organ system, digestive system, respiratory system, etc. Cells, tissue, organs and the organ system split up the work in a way that exhibit the division of labor and contribute the several survival of the body as a whole. Animal tissues. The structure of the cells vary according to their function. Therefore, the tissues are different and they are broadly classified into 4 types: epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. Epithelial tissues. We commonly refer to an epithelial tissues as epithelium. This tissue has a free surface which faces either a body fluid or the outside environment and thus provides a covering or a lining for some part of the body. The cells are compactly packed with little intercellular matrix. There are 2 types of the epithelial tissues, namely simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is composed of single layer of cells and functions as a lining for body cavities, ducts and tubes. The compound epithelium consists of 2 or more cells, layers and has a protective function as it does in our skin. On the other basis of structural modifications of the cells, simple epithelium is further divided into 3 types. These are squamous, cuboidal and columnar. The squamous epithelium is made up of single thin layer of flattened cells with irregular boundaries. They are found in the walls of blood vessels and air sacs of lungs and are involved in functions like forming a diffuse boundary. The cuboidal epithelium is composed of a single layer of tube-like structure. This is commonly found in ducts of glands and tubular part of the nephron in kidneys, and it means functions are the secretion and absorption. The epithelium of the proximal convoluted tubule of nephron in the kidney has macrovilli. The columnar epithelium is composed of a single layer of tall and slender cells. Their nuclei are located at the base. Free surface may have microvilli. They are found in the lining of stomach and intestine and help of the secretion and absorption. If the columnar and cuboidal cells bear cilia on their free surfaces, they are called ciliated epithelium. Their functions is to move particles to mucus in the specific direction over the epithelium. They are mainly present in the inner lining surface of the hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tubes. Some of the columnar or cuboidal cells get specialized for secretion and are called granular epithelium. They are mainly 2 types: unicellular consisting of isolated granular cell, goblet cells of the alimentary canal, and the multicellular consisting of the cluster of the cells, salivary gland. On the basis of the mode of the pouring of their secretion, glands are divided into two categories, namely exocrine and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzyme, and other cell products. These products are released through ducts or tubes. In contrast, endocrine glands do not have ducts. Their products called hormones are secreted directly into the fluid bathing the gland. Compound epithelium is made up of more than one layer of cells and thus have a limited role in secretion and absorption. The main function of the provide protection against the chemical and mechanical stresses. They cover the dry surfaces of the skin, the moist surface of the buccal cavity, pharynx, inner lining of the ducts of the salivary gland and the pancreatic duct. All the cells of the epitheliums are held together with the little intercellular material. Is nearly all animals' tissues. Specialized junction provide both structural and functional link between the individual cells. Three types of the cell junctions are found in the epithelium and other tissues. These are called as a tight, adhering and gap junction. Tight junction help to stop the substances from leaking across the tissue. Adhering junctions perform the cementing to the keep neighboring cells together and gap junction facilitate the cells to communicate with each other by connecting the cytoplasm of adjoining cells for rapid transfer of ions, small molecules and sometimes big molecules. Connective tissue. Connective tissues are most abundant and widely distributed in the body of complex animals. They are named connected because tissue because of their special function of linking and supporting other tissues. Organ of the body they range from the soft connective tissues to specialized types which include cartilage, bone, adipose and blood. In all the connective tissues except blood, the cells secrete fibers of the structural proteins called collagen or elastin. These fibers provide strength, elasticity and flexibility to the tissue. These cells also secrete modified polysaccharides which accumulates between the cells and fibers and acts as a matrix. Connective tissues are classified into three types: loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, and specialized connective tissue. Loose connective tissue has the cells and fibers loosely arranged in the semi-fluid ground substance. For example, alveolar tissue present beneath the skin. Often it serves as a support and framework for the epithelium. It contains fibroblasts, cells that produce and secrete fibers. Macrophages and mast cells. Adipose tissues in the another type of the loose connective tissues located mainly beneath the skin. The cells of these tissues are specialized to store fats. The excess of nutrients which are not used immediately are converted into fats and are stored in this tissue. Fibers and fibroblasts are compactly packed in the dense connective tissues. Orientation of the fiber shows of regular and irregular patterns and are called the dense regular and dense irregular tissues. In the dense regular and connective tissues, the collagen fibers are present in rows between many parallel bundles of fibers. Tendons, which attach the skeletal muscles to bones and ligaments, which attach one bone to another, are examples of this tissue. Dense irregular connective tissues has fibroblasts and many fibers, mostly collagen, that are oriented differently. This tissue is present in the skin, cartilage, bones and bloods are various types of the specialized connective tissues. The intercellular material of the cartilage is solid and palleable of the resist compression. Cells of these tissues are enclosed in a small cavity within the matrix secreted by them. Most of the cartilage is vertebrate embryo are replaced by the bone in adult. Cartilage is present in the tip of the nose, outer ear joints between the adjacent bones of the vertebral column, limbs and hands in adult. Bones have a hard and non-payable ground substance, rich in calcium, salt and collagen fibers, which gives bones its strength. It is the main tissue that provides the structural frame to the body. Bones support and protect the softer tissue and organ. The bone cells, osteocytes, are present in the spaces called lacunae. Limbs bones such as the long bones of the legs serves weight bearing function. They are also interact with the skeletal muscles attached to them to bring from about movement. The bone marrow in the some bones in the site of the production of blood cells. Blood is the fluid connective tissue containing plasma, red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. It is the main function circulating fluid that helps in the transport of various substances. You will learn more about in blood in chapter 17 and 18. Muscles tissue. Each muscle is made up of many long cylindrical fibers arranged in parallel array. These fibers are composed of numerous fine fibrils called myofibrils. Muscle fibers contract in response to stimulation, then relax and return to their uncontracted state in the coordination fashion. Their action move to the body to adjust to change in the environment and to maintain the position of the various parts of the body. In general, muscles play an active role in the all movements of the body. Muscles are three types: skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. Skeletal muscles of tissues are closely attached to the skeletal bones in the typical muscles such as bicep, triceps, striated skeletal muscles. Fibers are bundled together in the parallel fashion. A sheath of the tough connective tissues encloses several bundles of the muscles fiber. The smooth muscle fibers taper to both ends and do not show striation. Cell junction hold them together and they are bundled together in a connective tissue sheath. The walls of internal organs such as blood vessels, stomach and intestine contain this type of the muscle cells. Smooth muscles are involuntary as their functioning cannot be directly controlled. We usually are not able to make it contract merely by thinking about it as we can do with skeletal muscles. Cardiac muscles tissue is the contractile tissue present only in the heart cell junction fuse of the plasma membranes of cardiac muscle cells and make them stick together. Communications junction at same fusion point allow the cells to contract as the unit. When one cell receives a signal to contract, its neighbors as also stimulated to contract. Neural tissue. Neural tissue exert the greatest control over the body responsiveness to changing the condition. Neurons, the unit of neural system, is existable cell. The neuroglial cells which contribute to the rest of the neural system protect and support the neurons. Neuroglia make up more than one half of the volume of the neural tissue in our body. When the neurons is suitably stimulated, an electrical disturbance is generated which swiftly travels along its plasma membrane. Arrival of the distributions of the neuron ending or output zone triggers events that may cause stimulations or inhibitions of adjacent neurons and other cells. Organs and organ system. The basic tissue mentioned above organize to form the organs which is turn associated to form the organ system in a multicellular organism. Such as organization is essential for more inefficient and better coordinate activities. Millions of the cells constitutes an organism. Each organ in our body is made up of one or more types of tissues. For example, our heart consisting of all the four types of the tissues, that is epithelial, connective, muscular and neural. We also notice after some careful study that the complexity in organ and organ system displays certain discernibility trend. This discernibility trend is called evolutionary trend. You differentiate evolutionary levels to show their organization and functioning. Morphology refers to the study to form the externally visible features in case of plants and microbes. The terms morphology precisely mean only this. In case of the animals, this refers to the external appearance of the organs. or parts of the body. The word anatomy conventionally is used for the study of morphology of internal organs in the animals. You will learn the morphology and anatomy of earthworm, cockroach and frog represented in vertebrates and vertebrates. Earthworm. Earthworm is the reddish-brown terrestrial invertebrate and that inhabits the upper layer of the moist soil. During daytime, they lie in the burrow made by burrowing and swallowing the soil in the gardens. They can be traced by their fissile deposition known as worm casting. The common Indian earthworms are Ferretima and Lubricus. Morphology. Earthworms have a long cylindrical body. The body is divided into more than 100 short segments which are similar to metamers, about 100 to 120 in numbers. The dorsal surface of the body is marked as a dark median mid-dorsal line along with the longitudinal axis of the body. Ventral surface is distinguished by the presence of genital opening or pore. Anterior consisting of the mouth of the prostomium and the lobe which serves as a covering of the mouth and with the wedge of force. Open cracks in the soil into which earthworm may crawl. The protoneum is the secondary sensory of the function. The first body segmentation is called protosteum, which contains the mouth in the mature worm segment. 14 to 16 are covered by the prominent dark band of a granular tissue called ciliterium. Thus, the body is divisible into three prominent regions: praxiticular, ciliterial, and procitellular segment. Four pairs of the spermatothecal apparatus are situated on the ventrolateral side of the intergenital groove. Fifth and ninth segment, a single female genital pore is present in the mid-ventral line of 14 segment. A pair of the male genital pores are present in the ventrolateral sides of 18 surface of the body. In each body segment, except the first and last, and ciliatium, the rows of S-shaped seta embedded in the epidermal pits in the middle of each segment. Setae can be extended or retracted, their principal role in the locomotion. Anatomy. The body wall of the earthworm is covered externally by the thin non-cellular cuticle below which the epidermis, two muscle layers, circular and longitudinal, and an innermost coelomic epithelium. The epithelium is made up of single layer of the columnar epithelium cell, which contain the secretory gland cells. The alimentary canal is a straight tube and the runs between the first and last segment of the body. A terminal mouth opens into the buccal cavity, which leads into the muscular pharynx. A small narrow tube, esophagus contains into the muscular gizzard. It helps in the grinding and the soil particles and decaying leaves. The stomach extends from 9 to 14 segment. The food of the earthworm is decaying leaves and the organic matter mixed with soil. Calciferous glands represent in the stomach, nutrient lies and humic acid present in the humus. Intestines start from the 15th segment onwards, the continuous till to the last segment. A pair of the short and conical intestine project from the intestine on the 26th segment. The characteristic features of the intestine after 26th segment except the last 23rd to 25 segment in the presence of internal median fold and dorsal wall called typosolium. This increase in the effective area of the absorption in the intestine. The alimentary canal opens to the exterior by the small rounded aperture called anus. The ingested organic rich soil passes through the digestive tract where the digestive enzyme break down complex food into smaller absorbable units. These simpler molecules are absorbed through the intestinal membrane and are utilized. Parenchyma exhibit a closed type of the blood vascular system, consisting of the blood vessels, capillaries, and heart. Due to closed circulatory system, blood is confined to the heart and blood vessels. Contraction keeps blood circulating in one direction. Smaller blood vessels supply the gut, nerve cord, and the body wall. Blood glands are present on the fourth, fifth, and sixth segment. They are produce blood cells and hemoglobin, which is dissolved in blood plasma. Blood cells are phagocytic in nature. Earthworm lack specialized breathing devices. Respiratory exchange occurs through the moist body surface into their bloodstream. The excretory organs occur is a segmentically arranged coiled tubules called nephridia. They are three types. Septal nephridia present in both sides of the intersegmental septa and segment 15 to the last that opens with the intestine. Integumentary nephridia attached to the lining of the body walls of the segment 3 to the last that open on the body surface, and the pharyngeal nephridia present at the three paired tufts in the fourth, fifth, and sixth segment. These different types of the nephridia are basically similar in structure. Nephridia regulate the volume and composition of the body fluids. A nephridia starts out as a funnel which collects the excess fluid from coelomic chamber, and funnel connects with the tubular part of the nephridium, which delivers the waste through the pore to the surface of the body wall into the digestive tube. Nervous system is basically represented by the ganglia arranged segment-wise on the ventral pair of the nerve cord. The nerve cord in anterior region 3 and 4 segment bifurcates laterally, encircling the pharynx and the joints through the cerebral ganglia. Dorsally to form the nerve ring, the cerebral ganglia along with the other nerves in the ring integrated sensory input as well as command muscular responses of the body. Sensory system does not have eyes but does possess light to touch a sensitive organ, to distinguish the light intensities and to feel the vibrations in the ground. Worms have a specialized chemoreceptors which react with the chemical stimuli. These senses organs are located on the anterior part of the worm. Earthworm is hermaphrodite, bisexual. Testes and ovaries are present in the same individual. There are two pairs of the testes present in 10th and 11th segment, and vasa differentia runs up to 18th segment, and they join to the prostate duct to pairs to the accessory glands present in one pair in each 17 and 19 segment. The common prostate of the spermatic duct vasa differentia opens to the exterior by the pair of male genital pores on the ventrolateral side of the 18th segment. Four pairs of the spermatotheca are located in 6 to 9 segment. They receive and store spermatozoa during the copulation. One pairs of the ovaries are attached to the interior segmental of septum 12th and 13th segment. Ovarian funnels are present beneath to the ovaries, which continue with the oviduct, joined together and opens to the ventral side of the single medium female genital pore on the 14th segment. A mature exchange of the sperm occurs between two worms during mating. One worm has to find another worm and they mate, juxtaposing opposite gonadal opening, exchanging packets of the sperms like spermatophore. Mature sperms and egg cells are nutritive fluid are deposited in the cocoons produced by the glands cells silithium. Fertilization and development occurs within the cocoons which deposited in soil. The ova eggs are fertilized into the sperm cells which within the cocoons with help in the slips of the worms and deposited into the soils. The cocoons holds the worm embryos. After 3 weeks, each cocoon produces 2 or 20 baby worms, which an average of 4. Development of earthworm is direct and they do not form larvae. Earthworms are known as a friend of farmers because they make the burrows in the soil and make it porous, which help in the respiration and penetration of the developing plant roots. The process of increasing fertility of the soil by earthworm is called vermicomposting. They are also used as a bat of the glands of fishing, game of fishing. Cockroach. Cockroaches are brown and black bodies animals that are included in class Insecta phylum Arthropoda. Bright yellow and rain green colored cockroaches have also been reported in tropical regions. Their size ranges from 1 by 4 inches to 3 inches and have a long antenna, legs, and flat extension of upper body wall that conceals head. They are nocturnal omnivores that live in damp places throughout the world. They have become resident of human homes and thus are serious pests and vectors of several diseases. Morphology. The adults of the common species of the cockroach, Periplantinia americana, are about 34 to 53 mm long and wings that extend beyond to the tip of the abdomen in males. The body of the cockroach is segmented and divisible into three distinct regions: head, thorax, and abdomen. The entire body is covered by the hard chitinous exoskeleton, brown in color. In such segment, exoskeleton has hardened plates called sclerids that are joined to each other by thin and flexible articular membrane. Head is triangular in shape and lies anteriorly at right angles to longitudinal body axis. It is formed by the fusion of the six segments and shows the great mobility in all directions due to the flexible neck. The head capsule bears a pair of the compound eyes. A pair of the thread-like antennae arises from the membranous socket laying in the front of eyes. Antennae have sensory receptors that help in the monitoring the environment. Anterior end of the head bears appendages forming biting and chewing type of the mouth parts. The mouth parts consisting of a labrum, upper lip, a pair of mandibles, a pair of maxillae and labium, lower lip. The medial flexible lobe acting a tongue of hypopharynx lies within the cavity encloses the mouth parts. Thorax consists of three parts: prothorax, mesothorax, and metathorax. The head is connected with the thorax by the short extension of the prothorax known as the neck. Each thoracic segment bears a pair of walking legs. The first pair of wings arises from the mesothorax and the second pair of the metathorax. Forewings, mesothoracic, called tegmina, are opaque, dark, and leathery and covered with the hind wings vein at the rest. The hind wings are transparent, membranous, and are used in flight. The abdomen in both males and females consists of 10 segments. In females, the 7th sternum is boat-shaped and together wide the 8th and 9th sterna. Forms a brood and genital pouch whose anterior part contains female gonopore, segmental pores, and the collateral glands. In males, genital pouch of chamber lies at the hind end of the abdomen, bounded dorsally by 9th and 10th terga, and ventrally by 9th sternum. It consists of dorsal anus, ventral male genital pore, and gynopophysis. Male bears a pair of short thread like anal styles which are absent in females. In both sexes, the 10 segment bears a pair of jointed filamentous structure called anal cerci. Anatomy. The alimentary canal present in the body cavity is divided into three regions: foregut, midgut, and hindgut. The mouth opens into the short tubular pharynx, leading to the narrow tubular passage called esophagus. This in turn opens into the sac-like structure called crop, used for the storing of food. The crop is followed by gizzard and proventriculus. It has an outer layer of thick circular muscles and thick inner cuticle forming the six highly chitinous plate called teeth. Gizzard help in the grinding of the food particles. The entire foregut is linked by the cuticle. A thin ring of 6 to 8 blind tubules called hepatic or gastric coccia is present at the junction of the foregut and midgut, which secretes the digestive juice. At the junction of the midgut and hindgut is present another ring of 100 to 150 yellow colored thin filamentous Malpighian tubules. They help in the removal of excretory products from hemolymph. The hindgut is bordered than midgut and differentiated into ileum, colon, and rectum. The rectum opens out through the anus. Blood vascular system of cockroach is an open type. Blood vessels are poorly developed and open into space Hemocoel. Visceral organs located in the hemocoel and bath in blood. Hemolymph. The hemolymph is composed of colorless plasma and hemocytes. Heart of the cockroach consists of the elongated muscular tube laying along mid-dorsal line of thorax and abdomen. It is differentiated into funnel-shaped chamber with ostia and either side, blood from sinuses. Enter heart through ostia and pumped through anterior of the sinus again. The respiratory system consists of a network of trachea that opens to the 10 pairs of the small holes called spiracles, present on the lateral side of the body. These thin branching tubes, tracheal tubes subdivided into tracheoles, carry oxygen from the airs in all parts of the opening of the spiracles is regulated by the sphincters. Exchange of the gases takes place at the tracheoles by diffusion. Excretion is performed by the Malpighian tubules. Each tubule is linked by the glandular and ciliated cells. They absorb the nitrogenous waste product and convert them into the uric acid, which is exerted out through the hindgut. Therefore, this insect is called urotolic. In addition to the fat body, nephrocytes and urocyte gland also help in excretion. The nervous system of cockroaches consists of the series of the fused, segmentically arranged ganglia joined by the paired longitudinal connectives on the ventral sides. The 3 ganglia lie in the thorax and the 6 in the abdomen. The nervous system of the cockroach is spread throughout the body and the head holds the beat of the nervous system while the rest is situated along the ventral part of its body. So now you understand that if the head of the cockroach is cut off, it will be still live for the long as 1 week. In the head region, the brain is represented by the supraoccipitaal ganglia, which supplies the nerves to the antennae and the compound eyes. In cockroaches, the senses organs are antennae, eyes, maxillary pulp, labia pulp, and anal cerci, etc. The compound eyes are situated at the dorsal surface of the head. Each eye consists of about 2000 hexagonal ommatidia head, which with the help of several ommatidia, a cockroaches can receive the several images on the object. This kind of the vision is known as mosaic vision, with more sensitivity but less resolution, being common during in night. Hence, it is called nocturnal vision. Cockroaches are dioecious and both sexes are well developed reproductive organ. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes, one laying to one each lateral side of the 4 to 6 abdominal segment. From the each testis arises a thin vasa deferens which opens into the ejaculatory duct through the seminal vehicle. The ejaculatory duct opens into the male gynosphere situated ventral to the anus. A characteristic mushroom's shaped gland is present in 6 to 7 abdominal segment which functional as accessory reproductive gland. The external genitals are represented by the male gonophysis of the palomnium surrounding in the male gonophore. The sperms are stored in the seminal vesicles and glued together in the form of bundles called spermatophore, which are discharged during copulation. The female reproductive system consists of 2 large ovaries laying lateral into the reproductive 2 to 2nd to 6th abdominal segment. Each ovary is formed a group of 8 ovarian tubules and ovirioles consisting of a chain of developing ova. Oviduct of each ovary unite into the single median oviduct. A pair of the spermatotheca is present in the 6th segment which opens into the genital chamber. Sperms are transferred through the spermatophore, therefore fertilized eggs are encased in capsule called ootheca. Ootheca is dark reddish to blackish brown capsule about 3 by 8 long. They are dropped or glued to suitable surface, usually in the cracks of receive a high relative humidity near to the food source. On an average, females reproduce 9 to 10 ootheca, each containing 14 to 16 eggs. The development of the P. americana of the Purometabolous, meaning that is development through the nipple stage. The nymphs look like very much like adult. The nymphs grow by the molting about 30 times to reach the adult form. The next to the last nymphal stage has wing pads, but only in adult cockroaches have wings. Many species of the cockroaches are wild and are also known as economic importance yet. A few species thrive in a around human habitat. They are pests because they spoil food and contaminate it with their smelly excreta. They can transmit a variety of the bacterial disease by contaminating food material. Frogs. Frogs can be live both on land and the freshwater and belonging to a class Amphibia of phylum Chordata. The most common species of the frog found in India is Rana tigrina. They do not have constant body temperature, that is, body temperature varies with the temperature of the environment. Such animals are called the cold-blooded or poikilothermos. You might have also noticed changes in the color of the frogs while they are in grasses and on dry land. They have a ability to change the color of the hide them from their enemies. Camouflage. This protective coloration is called mimicry. You may also know that frogs are not seen during the peak summer and winter. During this period, they take shelters in deep burrows to protect them from extreme heat and cold. This is known as summer sleep, estivation, and winter sleep, hibernation, respectively. Morphology. Have you ever touched the skin of the frog? The skin of the smooth and slippery due to the presence of mucus. The skin is always maintained in the moist condition. The color of the dorsal side of the body is generally olive green with dark irregular spots. On the ventral sides of the skin is uniformly pale yellow of the frogs never drinks water but absorb it through the skin. The body of the frogs is divisible into head and trunk, a neck and tail is absent. Above the mouth, a pair of nostrils is present. Eyes are blood and covered with the nictitating membrane that protects them while in water. On either side of your eyes membrane, tympanum receives the sound signals and forelimbs and hind limbs help in the swimming and walking, leaping and burrowing. The hind limbs end in the 5 digits and they are larger and muscular than the forelimbs. That end of the 4 digits. Feet have webbed digits that help in swimming. Frogs exhibit several dimorphisms. Male frogs can be distinguished by the presence of sound producing vocal sacs and also a copulatory pad on the first 3 digits of the forelimbs, which are absent in female frogs. Anatomy. The body cavity of the frogs accommodate different organ systems such as digestive, circulatory, respiratory, nervous, excretory and reproductive system with well-developed structure and function. The digestive system consists of the alimentary canal and the digestive gland. The alimentary canal is short because frogs are carnivorous and hence the length of the intestine is reduced. The mouth opens into the buccal cavity that leads to the esophagus through pharynx. Esophagus is the short tube that opens into the stomach, which in turn continues as the intestine, rectum, and finally opens outside the cochlea. Liver secretes bile that is stored in gallbladder. Pancreas and digestive gland produces pancreatic juice containing digestive enzyme. Food is captured by the bilobe tongue. Digestion of food takes place by the action of HCl and gastric juices secreted from the walls of the stomach. Partially digested food called chyme is passed from the stomach to the first part of the small intestine. The duodenum receives biles from the gallbladder and pancreas juice from the pancreatic through the common bile duct. Bile emulsifies fat and pancreatic juice digest carbohydrate and protein. The final digestion takes place in the intestine. Digestion food is absorbed by the numerous finger-like fold in the inner wall of the intestine called the villi or microvilli. The undigested solid waste moves into the rectum and passed out through cochlea. Frogs respire on land and in the water by two different methods. In water, skin acts as aquatic respiratory organ. Cutaneous respiration, dissolved oxygen in the water is exchanged through the skin by diffusion. On land, the buccal cavity, skin and lungs acts as a respiratory organ. The respiration by lungs is called pulmonary respiration. The lungs are a pair of elongated pink-colored sac structure present in the upper part of the trunk region. Air enters through the nostril into the buccal cavity and then to the lungs. During estivation and hibernation, gaseous exchange takes place through the skin. The vascular system of the frog is well developed, closed type. Frogs have a lymphatic system also. The blood vascular system is involved the heart, blood, vessels and blood. The lymphatic system consists of the lymph and lymph channels and lymph nodes. Heart is a muscular structure situated in the upper part of the body cavity. It has three chambers, two atria and one ventricles, and is covered by the membrane called pericardium. A triangular structure called sinus venous joins at the right atrium. It receives blood through the major veins called vena cava. The ventricles open into the sac like conus atricious on the ventral side of the heart. The blood from the heart is carried to all parts of the body by the arteries. Arterial system. The vein collects the blood from the different parts of the body to the heart and forms the venous system. Special venous connection between the liver and intestine as well as the kidney or the lower parts of the body that present in frogs. The former is called the hepatic portal system and the latter is called the renal portal system. The blood is composed of the plasma and the cells. The blood cells are RBCs and erythrocytes, WBCs and leukocytes and platelets. RBCs are nucleated and contain the red color pigment, namely hemoglobin. The lymph is different from blood. It leaks few proteins and RBCs. The blood carries nutrients, gases and water to the respective sites during the circulation. The circulation of the blood is achieved by the pumping action of the muscular heart. The elimination of the nitrogenous waste is carried out by a well-developed excretory system. The excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, ureter, cochlea, urinary bladder. These are compact, dark, red and bean-like structure situated little posterior in the body cavity on the both sides of the ventral column. Each kidney is composed of the several structural and functional units called luminiferous tubules or nephrons. Two ureter emerge from the kidney in the male frog and ureter acts as a urinogenital duct which opens to the cochlea. In females, the uterus and the oviduct open separately in cloaca. The thin-walled urinary bladder is present ventral to the rectum which also open in the cloaca. A frog exits urea and thus the ureotelic animal. Excretory waste are carried by the blood in the kidney where it is separated and excreted. The system for the control and coordination is highly evolved in frog. Includes both neural system and endocrine glands. The chemical coordination of various organs of the body is achieved by hormones which are secreted of the endocrine system. Glands. The prominent endocrine glands found in the frogs are pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, thymus, pineal, pancreatic islets, adrenal and gonads. The nervous system is organized into a central nervous system, brain and the spinal cord, a peripheral nervous system, cranial and the spinal nerve, and the autonomic nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic. There is the 10 pairs of the cranial nerves arising from the brain. Brain is enclosed in the bony structure called brain box cranium. The brain is divided into forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain includes olfactory lobes paired of cerebral hemisphere and the unpaired diencephalon, and midbrain is characteristics of the pair of optic lobes. Hindbrain consists of the cerebellum and medulla oblongata. Medulla oblongata passes out through the foramen magnum and continues into the spinal cord, which is encloses in the vertebral column. Frogs have a different types of the senses organ, namely organ as touch, sensory papilla, taste bud, smell, nasal epithelium, vision, eyes and the hearing, tympanum and internal ears. Out of these, eyes and internal ears are well organized structure and the rest of the cell aggregations around the nerve ending. Eyes in the frogs are a pair of the spherical structures situated in the orbit in the skull. These are simple eyes possessing only one unit. External ear is absent in frog and only tympanum can be seen externally. The ear is the organ of the hearing as well as balancing equilibrium. Frogs have well organized male and female reproductive system. Male reproductive organ consists of the pair of yellowish ovate testes which are found adhering to the upper part of the kidneys by double fold of the peritoneum called mesochorium. Vasa efferentia are 10 to 12 in the number and arises from testes. They enter to the kidney on their sides and open into bladder canal. Finally, it communicates with the urinogenital duct that comes out to the kidney and opens into the cochlea. The cloaca is the small median chamber that is used in the pass fecal matter and urine and sperms to the exterior. The female reproductive organ includes a pair of ovaries. The ovaries are situated near to the kidneys and there is no functional connection with kidneys. A pair of oviduct arises from the ovaries opens into the cloaca separately. A mature females can lay 2500 to 3000 ova at a time. Fertilization is external and takes place in water. Development involves a larval stage called tadpole. Tadpole undergoes metamorphosis to form the adult. Frogs are beneficial for mankind because they eat the insect and protect the crops. Frogs maintain the ecological balance because they serve as the important link of food chain and food web in the ecosystem. In some countries, the muscular legs of the frogs are also used for the food by man.